Hey guys, so I am back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys all about my Disney work experience. So as most of you guys already know, I used to work at Disneyland. I don't anymore, I recently quit. I will get into that later. But yeah, in this video I'm just going to be telling you guys what my job was, how I got the job, what the experience was like, and everything like that. So first I'm going to kick this video off with a disclaimer. I am in no way trying to ruin Disney magic or spill any Disney secrets. I'm simply making this video because a lot of people were curious about what my job was and how I got it. I know a lot of people are very interested in working at Disneyland. So hopefully this video will help some of you guys out, get an idea of what it's like to work there, and see if it's the right job for you. So that being said, I guess I will just jump right into the video. So while I was working at Disney, I'm sure most of you guys figured out I was not allowed to say what it was that I did. Because of that, a lot of people took to guessing what it was that I did, and the funny thing is only one person ever guessed correctly. So before I tell you what it is that I actually did, I have to really quickly say, if you are someone who doesn't want a little piece of Disney magic ruined for you, or if there are little kids around while you're watching this video, or even if you are a little kid, you might not want to watch the rest of this video. So that being said, my job at Disneyland was actually a fur character. So for those of you who don't know what that terminology means, a fur character is somebody in a full-bodied costume. So the characters that I did were Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and Pinocchio. For some reason, a lot of people thought that I was a Disney princess. No, I'm actually way too short to be a Disney princess, and I'm actually even too short to be a fairy. But it was the perfect height to be a fur character. So I'm sure a lot of people are curious as to how you get a job as a Disney character performer, and you get the job by auditioning. If you want to see what auditions are coming up, you just go online and look at the Disney audition calendar, which I will link in the description box for you guys. So all you have to do is go to the Disney audition calendar and see what auditions are coming up. It will say all of the details on there, for example, what height they're looking for, what gender they're looking for, if there are any requirements, where it is, what time it is, and everything like that. Just make sure that at the top you put in what theme park you want to be working at. Otherwise, it will show you auditions for every Disney theme park all over the world. So if you wanted to be a Disney character, you would just look for the auditions that say Disney character performer or Disney look-alike character performer. And that is for both fur characters and face characters. And no, you don't choose what characters you want to be, they choose that for you. You have absolutely no say. So the auditioning process itself is constantly changing. So what I tell you about my audition might be completely different than the way they're doing it now, but I will share with you guys anyway. So I showed up to my audition a few hours early, I think 3 or 4, because a ton of people go to these auditions. So if you don't get there early, you might not even make it through the door. And then they measured us. You take off your shoes and they measure you according to Disney height. Disney height is slightly different than your regular height, so if you go in there saying you're 5'4", you might actually get measured at 5'3", or maybe even 5'5". It just depends what they want you to be. I'm 4'11", and my Disney height was actually exactly the same, but some people will get measured in taller and some people will get measured in shorter than they actually are. Like I said, it just depends on what they need. So after you've been sitting around for a while and they've finally collected and measured everyone, then they will break you into height ranges. The height ranges are mouse height, chipmunk height, Pluto height, and Goofy height. They brought all of the mice height into one room and they had us all spread out, and they had us practice a few things. Pick a 7 dwarf and act like that, and pick a villain and act like that. We didn't have much time to practice the characters, maybe about 30 seconds for each, and then we had to line up in groups of 2. So they had us walk across the floor towards the judges, acting like our dwarf and our villain. They watched you, and then when you got up to them, they would either point you towards one side of the room or the other. So once they sorted through everyone and everyone was split into 2 groups, They told one side to leave, and they told the other side they made it to the next round. Pretty scary, but it was also very fun. So after they made those cuts, we sat around for a very long time. They called more people up, they made more cuts, and you sat around for a very long time. Then they brought whatever mice type people were left into another room, had us line up in a line, and had us act things out. They would say things like, silently act like you won the lottery. Everyone would act like they won the lottery, and then they would stop us and say, silently act like a 5-year-old, and you would act like that. And they would just pick whatever they wanted and have us act like that. And then they made more cuts. And we sat around, and they made more cuts, and we sat around. Then eventually they took whoever was remaining in our group, and they told us that we got the job. So that was my very quick run through of my auditioning process. If you audition and you do get cut, don't take it too personally. It might not have been you, it might have simply been that you weren't what they needed at the time. They hold these auditions looking for things very specifically, like say they only need 2 chipmunks and 1 goofy height. They hold this audition with hundreds of people, and they're only looking for 2 chipmunks and 1 goofy height. So if you do get cut, like I said, don't take it personally because maybe you just weren't the height that they needed. So that being said, I will move on. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious as to what the pay is. I know that's something that I was very curious about before I got hired in. So I know that Disney's minimum wage just went up recently, and I believe the starting price for fur characters right now is $11. I'm not sure, but I know it's something around $11. It could be more. So now I just wanted to share with you guys a really good experience that I've had and a really bad experience that I've had. So I will start out with the bad experience. It was my first day out in the park in costume, and I was Minnie Mouse, and I was over on DCA's side. If you guys go to Disneyland a lot, you probably already know that Disney California Adventure side sells alcohol. So because of that, sometimes you get drunk people. So it was my first day, I was in Minnie Mouse, and some old drunk biker dudes came up to me to say hello and get a photo. But they were being very, very disgusting. They were saying really inappropriate things. They kept trying to lift my dress up. And when I started telling them like, no, don't do that, I remember one of them said, oh, Minnie, I don't know why you're acting like this right now. You weren't acting like this last night in bed. Ew. Like, sorry, you do realize you're talking to a mouse, right? A freaking mouse? You're flirting with a mouse. So then he continued to say gross things and lean all over me and stumble around until he finally got his photo and left. So you can have some pretty shitty experiences as a character. People can be gross, people can be mean, people can pull on your nose and smack your head a lot, which yes, that does hurt, by the way. We can feel that. But that being said, you can also have really, really amazing experiences. So there was another time that I was working again as Minnie Mouse actually, and a little girl came up to me. This little girl was actually blind, so her mom walked her up to me and I held on to her, and we took a few photos, and then the little girl turned to me and she asked if she could feel my face. So of course I said yes, and she stood there and she was feeling the character head, and she just could not stop laughing. She was so excited. And while she was feeling Minnie Mouse's face, her mom was pointing out details to her like, do you feel how long her eyelashes are? A little bit different than Mickey Mouse, right? Or telling her what the color of my lipstick was or the color of my eyeshadow was, and the little girl was so happy. And of course, I'm in the costume like trying not to cry because this little blind girl is freaking touching my face and she's so happy. And yeah, it was a really amazing experience to have. So even though you can have some bad experiences, there are so many cute kids that you get to meet and dance with, and so many nice people that come up and thank you for making magic. And overall, it's a really great experience, and for the most part, the good experiences definitely outweigh the bad experiences. So I've heard some pretty funny things that people will say about Disney characters. A lot of people tend to think that we have fans in our heads to keep us cool when it's hot out. No, we actually don't have anything, just our sweat. So yeah, when it's super hot out, when it's in the hundreds, we just deal with it. There are no fans or anything like that. We just bear with the heat. When it gets extremely hot, they will let us go in a few minutes early, but other than that, yeah, we just deal with it. So hopefully if you guys go to Disneyland and you've been waiting and a character has to leave, hopefully you understand that there's a person in there and they're probably dying and they probably need a drink, because it really is an exhausting job. So take it easy on the characters, because I feel like a lot of people tend to forget that there is a real human in there. So yeah, just remember that. So I left Disney for a few different reasons, and I'm just going to explain all of those to you guys right now. One reason was that my commute to get to Disneyland was insane. An hour and 30 minutes without traffic. So that is a really long drive, especially when you have shifts that start at 5:45 a.m. I was leaving my house at 3:30 in the morning, and the amount of money I was spending in gas meant that my paycheck was so small that it really wasn't worth it to be working there. So the commute was one reason that I left, and the fact that I wasn't really making any money working there. Another reason that I left was because I wanted to go full-time with YouTube. Working for YouTube and working for Disney at the same time, they're two completely different worlds, and it kind of made me realize some things. Working for YouTube, I was allowed to do whatever I wanted, you know? I'm allowed to be whoever I want to be because I'm my boss. I make my own hours and my own rules, and that's so much different from working at Disney, where there's super strict rules and crazy hours, and that kind of leads into the third reason that I left Disney, which was their rules. Some of the rules at Disney drove me absolutely crazy. They are very, very strict with your appearance, and they're not really for self-expression. As a Disney employee, I had to cover up all of my tattoos. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. I wasn't allowed to dye my hair. I had to take out all of my piercings, and the only colors I could paint my nails were nude and pale pink. Obviously, I decided that I liked being my own boss a lot better than having people tell me what to do. Also, I make a lot more money from YouTube. So those are the reasons that I left. It really is a great job, so if you are considering going and auditioning and trying to be a character performer at Disneyland, I do recommend it, but I also recommend that you really think about who you are and if it's compatible, I guess, with that sort of job. If you don't really like kids, if you can't stand being hot and sweating, if you absolutely hate people controlling your appearance, probably shouldn't choose that job. So yeah, I didn't cover a whole lot in this video because I just wasn't really sure what to talk about. So I just covered some of the stuff that I figured was most important. I'm sure that you guys have a ton of questions, so if you want, I could do a Q&A video solely dedicated to my job at Disney. And if you also would like, you can comment your questions down below and I will do my best to answer those for you guys. I don't really have a lot of photos of me working, but I do have a few. So here are some photos of me making magic. You guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and let me know if you guys would like a Q&A solely dedicated to Disney questions. Yeah, that's about it, so I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!